to just show you what I've done today, take you along for about 10 or 15 minutes and go over what my students are working on, show you my room, and let's get this month started, okay? So today my students were doing test corrections. So, and the way I do my test corrections is that I create a sheet. Well, let me see if I can kind of show you, where my students write down the problem that they missed. They also write down the name of the skill. They rework the problem, and then they give me a new answer, okay? And so with that being said, it was a rough week, okay, because I got their test scores back and they were horrible. And so what I've also been doing was giving them sample problems like the ones that they were given on the test, and then allowing them to match those type of questions with the ones they were given and follow the steps. Some of them are catching on, some of them say that it helps, but we know that we got to work problems and see things multiple times before we start truly mastering that skill. So that's one of the things that my students were working on. The other thing they're doing is they're keeping up with their new instruction. And so last summer I created my own algebra book. It's still a work in progress, and so it has to be edited, and hopefully I can get this on the market soon. But if there's no struggle, there's no progress. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that, because we are struggling in our classes this year. We are back in person after being a year of virtual. We did not do hybrid. We didn't do any of those things in my district. And so it's really been a transition for my students to come back to school. And I just didn't think it was going to be that hard. You know, we adapt and we are used to change, but I guess I was wrong. My students are really struggling transitioning back into school. And one of the problems that they're having is that teachers are giving grades. So all teachers, I'm really going to stress this, that's out there, we cannot give grades. We have to hold these students accountable for their learning. If they're not doing it, then we have to do what? Come up with ways and strategies to help them, but we're not going to give them a grade. And that's what my students are waiting on. They're waiting on me to just change that F to a D. And some people may laugh, but in an inner city school, a student is happy with a D, because that just means they don't have to do what? Repeat the course. But we cannot be satisfied with a D. We cannot be satisfied with giving grades, and we have to hold these students accountable. So when I got these Fs on this test, and I had given these students a 59.5, which averages out to a D, and then they came back and got 0 questions right on a test, I mean multiple students, then I was mad. I wanted my 59.5 back because it was false data, okay? And so what I decided to do was I was going to push them harder. And so that's what I'm working on, pushing my students harder, helping them to see the importance of an education and know it's not about algebra. I teach students, and I just use algebra to do it, okay? I love math. It doesn't mean they have to love math. And so we're going to do what it takes to get through this state test. My district is on a 4x4, so my students see me every day. 4 classes a day my students have, and then they switch classes in February. So they'll be done with algebra for the year come February. And if they fail, then I got to see them back next year. So I called the parents. I got the students to give me their cell phone number. Yes, I stored every F in my phone. And I text them like I'm about to, did you do your homework? Show me what you did. Send me a picture. What are you working on? Why you didn't do your homework? And I'm texting them every day. And I was giving them multiple days to do that homework. It's due the very next day. Now, I'm not going to take off any points, and I hope they're not watching. But I'm going to hold them accountable daily. So they're going to see those grades, And then I'm going to print out a grade sheet every Friday and make them have their parents sign. If their parents don't sign, they will call their parents during the middle of the class. And so, as you can see, I can get on my rampage about how I feel about my students working and doing what they were supposed to do. So I'm just going to let you know that this month is going to be interesting. I'm going to take students. When I tell you my average questions right, do y'all see it? You ain't no name on here. You can't see that. 4. Do you know how many questions was on the test? 31. The next student, 4 out of 31, 1 out of 31, 0 out of 31, 3 out of 31, 2 out of 31, 3 out of 31, 0, 2, 3, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. I've been teaching since August. I just paused because I just said it out loud. I had one student out of 20-some kids that got 12 out of 0. Out of 31. 1. So we got work to do. So don't fret. We're going to get them there. And I want you to tune in and see how I do it. All right, guys, it's our first day back, and I don't want to talk your head off. I just did my little introduction of what I'm doing at this time in the classroom. You can see that I get a little excited, and teaching is my passion. So hopefully you can see that I love what I do, and I want to be good at it. So I'm going to take a few minutes and show you some of the things that I use in my classroom. One of the things that I really, really have wanted for years, I did have luck one year, and then the rest of the years it just wasn't successful because of the restrictions that my district had, and that was being able to use my iPad in the classroom. So they give us a computer, it's hooked up to our smart board, but I always wanted that freedom to walk around the classroom and, check off stuff on my iPad and create things on my iPad. And so this year I was just like, what can I do? What can I do? So one of the things I did was I brought my Apple TV in, and I was trying to connect to Wi-Fi because you have to be on the same Wi-Fi with your tablet as you do your Apple TV. And so I was able to connect my Apple TV to my smart board using an HDMI cord. And so I hate it. It's so ugly. But it definitely gives me that freedom to walk around the classroom with my iPad and also to teach from my iPad. So I'm able to use GoodNotes. I'm able to use any other apps, Desmos. I'm able to flip back and forth from those. And I'm also able to take good data while in the classroom. Now, we do have a lot of COVID restrictions. As you can see, I still have my mask on because we're not allowed to take them off when in the classroom, even if we're by ourselves. And you would notice during this month that I'm in the classroom pretty late. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I work from 8:15, and I get here around 8 o'clock, to 4 o'clock. I have fourth block off, which is my planning period. And the noise that you may hear, I just want to stop because there's going to be some noise in this room, is we have that humidifier over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to take you over there. But that thing is huge and it's loud. And if it's interfering with the voice, then I'll just have to adjust it for tomorrow. But today, if you hear any background noise, it's my baby right here who's purifying our room. Our district bought one for every room. And if it was a huge room, they bought a couple of them for us. So we do have those in our room. We are still doing the 3 feet apart from the students and 6 feet apart from the teachers. I have been vaccinated and I've had my booster, and I have not contracted COVID since I've been back in school or been notified that of COVID of any of my students. Now, some of my students have been quarantined, and they went home because they was in another class that got contacted, but thus far I have been safe. And that's a rampant, just because I wanted you to know what that noise was in the background. So back to what I was saying. I use my iPad in the classroom. My co-teacher has an iPad in the classroom. We are able to share documents on several different apps, and our favorite is GoodNotes. We can export those as PDFs for the kids and upload them and take pictures. We can take pictures of the kids' work with our iPads. We both have Apple Pencils. We're able to write, and with math, that is so important to be able to write and draw. And GoodNotes does have some good features. The only thing it's missing is an equation writer. If GoodNotes could get an equation writer, it would be my #1 app. All I need is x squared, and I know you can use the caret to raise it to the second power, and I need a radical. So I need square root and cube root, and I would be in heaven. So I just want to let you know that this month is going to go by quick, and when we return, it's going to be testing time for us. So I just want to show you what I do to get ready for tests. So at this time, I'm going to take you over to my iPad, and we're going to take a look at a few things that I am doing in the classroom. Okay, guys, so I'm back, and I cut the humidifier off. I'm just going to put my code in while I film this part of the video. I like filming at work, but sometimes the lights go out. So hopefully I can make it through the video without the lights going out. So what I was telling you is that I use GoodNotes. And in GoodNotes, I have created my own digital planner, which I hope to market the upcoming school year. I am going to put out some beta testing. Hopefully some teachers will be willing to test it for me. And so in the shared file is my teacher playbook. I did outsource the cover. So a lady on Instagram made the cover for me. She had linked some things, but it wasn't working. And she also designed this, but I was able to edit it and do the things that I needed to do. So quickly, we're just going to go to one of the months. Our months are linked here. This is what I teach for the month. Now, I do create a calendar at the beginning of the year. But we don't always get to do what's on the calendar in the order because of things that come up. So as you can see, my calendar is created, but our principal gave us a week off. We had SOL testing, so classes were longer. We had PSAT tests, so those classes, we didn't even have class that day. He gave us this entire week off, so I lost 3 days of instruction. And so with that being said, this lets me know exactly what we taught. So this is my October calendar, and then we have our November calendar. Now, I did link all of my weeklies to the same 5 weeks. So every month is linked to the same 5 weeks, but I wasn't really liking that. So what I did was I just copied the weeks and added them behind the month. Because if you go to the monthly and click on a week, then it's blank because these are just blank pages. I only have 5 of them in the book. Okay, and I don't use those anymore because I was having to clear them out at the end of every month. And so now I just make a copy and then I just add them behind and I just swipe. It hasn't really been a big issue. And so when I told you before that my students wasn't doing well, I decided that I was going to make a few changes for December. So this is my new month. And these are what we call deal breakers, the strategies that I'm going over with my students. And I just kind of brainstorm the things that they missed on the test. So these are the questions and these are the things that I wanted to go over with my students. So I just kind of made a list of all the problems and giving them examples and just taking my time going over what I needed to teach for my students. And that's evaluating myself, what was on the test, and what could I do better. Then I wanted to also start looking at my students that's not trying. Okay, and I hate to say it, but we all have students that don't do anything. So students whom are not attending or not working in or out of class. So now, me and tomorrow, I set this up a few minutes ago, me and my co-teacher will go through every student and we will say, okay, this student's attending, we could do X, Y, Z. This student's not attending, We can do X, Y, Z. This student's not picking up a pencil, haven't turned in one assignment. What am I going to do about it? And so you have to constantly revisit these issues. And then the next thing that I started doing, going back to my December, we're working on remediation and tiering our students. And so what I want to do is take my guided lessons. What did I do? What materials? What strategies? Okay, so that I can go back and go over and just look at, am I doing what I'm supposed to do to help my students master these skills? And so that's what me and my co-teacher do today. We'll analyze everything that we did for the week, and it should be done prior to. We have done one, I don't know if it was in September or October, but I have done one of these. Anyway, we'll have to look at that later. And the next thing that I do is I tier my... So one of the things that we do is we'll take the kids that's struggling, and then my co-teacher takes some and I'll take some. And then we'll make sure that we're checking on our students. And we also do some type of friendly competition between the students. My students was doing this. What was your students doing? And we just enjoy it, and it makes it fun for us. We also tier our students so that we can see who took the test, who scored what on the test, and then we also who needs to take the test and students that's not finished or not tested. And so we kind of analyze that, and then when they do a retake, we'll actually put that information in again. And so this planner has a lot of templates. And so when you click on a template, you can either copy the page, student engagement, right, where you can give kids a problem, especially if you're working on one skill, and you can run around the room and check off if the student actually mastered the problem. Here. Let me know if I can help. That's my watch. And so you can copy this page. If I wanted to work on 10 problems tomorrow, I could just come in here, copy the page, go to my December, and say I wanted to put it in one of my links. So let's go back to December. All of these sidebars are linked to a blank page, and then you can design it. So this is the page. So I just want to paste it after. I'm not here to teach you good notes. I just want to show you. And so now when I go to December, I can write down student engagement or remediation for translation, evaluation, any one of my skills. Click on it here, and then there it is. And you saw that I did that with one of my deal breakers. You know, you title the page, you know, put your overview, and then you have all the pages that's behind, and you do have to swipe those. Okay. And so all of the links or anything I need to do is done in December. And I think I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, the planner that I'm making for the next year, I took the links off the monthly and put it on my weekly. And I also have weeklies for every week in the new planner that I'm creating. So I'm in GoodNotes creating my new planner, which I'm not here to give you a tutorial, but my new planner will start in January, and then each month will have a weekly, and then you can see the links are going to be on the weekly. This is not complete. This is what I'm working on. Also, I wanted a place to write notes for each one of my blocks, so you can go to a link, which is a blank page. And what else did I do? I think that's it. And then I have all the templates in the back, and I haven't designed where I'm going to put the template list at yet. But here's my daily page. Here's a behavior log I'm working on. I redid the tiering to put the tiering for the test and the retake on the same page. And then directly behind it, you would have your guided lesson. And this guided lesson is a remediation lesson. And then I gave you some different weekly templates. And like I said, I'm trying to have this up. What I normally do is I create the planners, and me and my co-teacher just use them. And then I say, oh, I like this. And I just still haven't figured out everything that I want yet. And it's not all linked, but all of these will go to its own weeklies. And then I have the home page, which it will close it. Right now it's not linked. And then you have your to-do list or what you need to get done for the week. And then all your links that you're setting up. And I do want to say week 1, 2, 3, and 4, all for the month links to these same 9 or 10 links. And then when you get a new month, you get another set of links. So these links are still for the month. And so that's one of the apps that we use. We also use the Desmos calculator. As you can see, I can type and the kids can see this because it's projected onto the screen. And I'm not sure. We don't really use anything collectively between me and my co-teacher. Right now we're using GoodNotes, Desmos, and of course I'm using Keynote to create my new planners. We are in Google Classroom, and so we do use Google Classroom, and my co-teacher is really good about posting I thought it would pop up. And so I'll just show you one of our classes real quick. How we have it set up. So in our stream, Miss White and I post all the things that we're doing. And you can see she's in 10th, 11th. You know, we're posting their to-do list, their homework. We're making sure that we cover what they did or what they missed in class, okay? And then in our classroom, we have our day 1 because those activities vary from year to year. We have our prerequisite packet that we give the students. And then I do each one of mine by unit, right? And I develop these units and separate it according to what I have to teach to the VDOE, Virginia Department of Education. And so this is the things that they tell us that we have to teach. And as you can see, these are my iExcel assignments. We do use iExcel. I purchased boom cards, and I haven't given them many, but that's a remediation thing that we'll be using. And then assessments and benchmarks, they all go up under one section. And then these right here are current activities, and I don't really move them down because my students have a hard time finding things until we're finished with it or the due date comes, and then I'll move it to where it's supposed to be. And so that's just how we've been setting it up, and it works for us, and teaching our students how to use it. So we do use Google Classroom, and we're still working virtually as far as how we deliver our assignments. Everything is uploaded into Google Classroom. Our students do have their own book that I created, and now this is a combination of worksheets. Also, all the worksheets in the beginning, I've retyped and recreated according to what I wanted and how I wanted to introduce their lesson. This is just the direct instruction. This is not their independent practice, but it also has their direct instruction, which is the introduction to the skill. It has their strategies, and then it has practice problems for us to model. So all the model problems are put into the into this journal. Now, originally, we used a composition book. And so with the composition book, hold on, let me get it. We taped everything in. So for the last 2 years, my principal has bound our books for us at a local printing company, and it has been a time saver because it would take us almost a whole class period just to tape pages for a whole unit, and now they get the book already done, and then I can upload things into Google Classroom for them to practice the problems. And when you get to the back, some of the pages do have some practice problems depending on what it is, or I'll tape in sheets that I gave the students that they would work on in Google Classroom. And so we've covered, even though everything might not be written in this book, we have a copy in GoodNotes, and that's where we keep most of our notes. Let me put my password in. So we share. In GoodNotes, they have a sharing file. So down here where you share, most of our math notebooks that we share are in here. And as you can see, we'll work the first set of problems, and then they may have some more that they'll practice on their own. We don't really put the answers to those. We walk around the room and check on the students, or they can finish them up for homework if time doesn't permit for them to finish. If we have enough time in class, depending on what we're covering the day, and I also do a 45-minute remediation. So I usually teach the remediation before we teach the lesson. And so therefore that depends on how long I take to do the remediation. But this is their guided notes. And so I hope you have enjoyed this video. It's my first one. I do plan on trying to vlog all month and just see where it takes me. So don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned. Let's get these 24 days before Christmas out the way, and we're going to start a new year. So I hope you enjoyed it.